At 2:13 a.m., Daniel sat alone in his car with only $11 left in his bank account, no job, no family nearby, and one final thought in his mind: God, if you're real, why did you leave me? What happened 3 hours later completely changed his life forever. Daniel was the kind of person everyone admired. He worked hard, stayed honest, helped people whenever he could, and never missed church on Sundays. But life has a strange way of testing the people who trust God the most. Within 6 months, Daniel lost everything. First, the company he worked for shut down unexpectedly. Then his girlfriend left him because she said he was too broken to build a future with. And finally, he got evicted from his apartment after falling behind on rent. At just 27 years old, Daniel went from having a normal, peaceful life to sleeping inside his old Honda Civic in random parking lots across the city. Every night he prayed, God, please help me. Please open a door. Please don't leave me alone. But nothing happened. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. And slowly, Daniel stopped believing his prayers mattered. One cold, rainy night, Daniel parked near a closed grocery store. His phone battery was dying. His stomach hurt from hunger, and the gas tank was almost empty. He checked his wallet, $11. That was all he had left in the world. Daniel leaned back in his seat and stared at the ceiling of the car. Tears rolled down his face as he whispered, I tried. God, I really tried. For the first time in years, he didn't pray after that. He just closed his eyes and sat there in silence. Around 3 a.m., someone knocked on his window. Daniel immediately panicked. He thought it might be the police asking him to leave, but standing outside was an old man wearing a dark hoodie and holding 2 cups of coffee. The man smiled softly and said, You looked like you needed this. Daniel rolled the window down slowly. Do I know you? He asked. The old man shook his head. No, but God knows you. Daniel froze. The stranger handed him a coffee and a small paper bag with food inside. Then he pointed at Daniel's dashboard where a tiny cross necklace was hanging. You stopped believing tonight, didn't you? Daniel's heart dropped. He had told nobody how he felt. Nobody. Listen carefully, the man said. Just because God is silent doesn't mean he's absent. Daniel felt chills run through his body. The old man sat on the curb beside the car and told Daniel something he would never forget. Sometimes God removes everything around you so you can finally hear his voice clearly. For the next 20 minutes, they talked. The strangers spoke about faith, pain, purpose, and how the hardest seasons of life often happen right before breakthrough. Before leaving, the man reached into his pocket and handed Daniel a folded piece of paper. Open it tomorrow morning, he said, and then he walked away into the rain. The next morning, Daniel unfolded the paper. Written on it were only 3 words. Check your email. Confused, Daniel opened the library Wi-Fi on his phone and checked his inbox. There was a message from a company he had applied 2 months earlier. Final interview invitation. Daniel couldn't believe it. The interview happened 2 days later, and by the end of the week, he got the job. A real job, with good pay, enough to finally restart his life. Months later, Daniel moved into a small apartment and slowly rebuilt everything he had lost. But there was one thing he never forgot: the stranger. One day, Daniel returned to the same parking lot, hoping to find him again. He asked nearby workers if they knew an older man who walked around at night helping people. Every single person gave him the same answer: there's never been anyone like that here. Daniel stood there speechless. Maybe it was coincidence, maybe it wasn't, but deep down, Daniel believed something with all his heart. That night, when he felt completely abandoned, God sent someone to remind him he was never alone. So if you're watching this while feeling lost, if life feels unfair, if your prayers feel ignored, remember this: God is still working behind the scenes, even in silence, even in pain, even when you can't see the plan yet, because sometimes your darkest night becomes the beginning of your greatest testimony. If this story touched your heart, subscribe for more faith stories every week and comment, God is with me, if you still believe.